Alright, here I am at the Helmer Road railroad crossing in Springfield, Michigan. Now this right here is another rather neat railroad crossing that I decided to stop by and tour, all owned by the CN South Bend subdivision. And as you can see, this one features quite a bit of like a diverse equipment, if that makes sense. Now, the South Bend subdivision, worth mentioning in my last few crossing tour videos, is this is the subdivision that the CN Flint subdivision turns into after it passes the Battle Creek Yard, and it continues outwards and eventually turns to the Chicago sub after it goes through Griffith. But yeah, and this crossing, like I said, features some pretty interesting stuff. So I guess with that said, I'll explain as I go on. So with that said, let's get to it. So for the first signal, this has a WRS cantilever with a union metal base. And here's the emergency information and the dot tag, and the dot number is start over. I accidentally started reading the first three digits, so dang it, last three digits. I'm sorry. Anyways, dot number is 283519V. And if you look up here, there is an old Grand Trunk Western dot tag, same dot number. But yeah, and for the gate mechanism of this one, this has a Safe-Tran gating mechanism, 2000s generation, sitting on a WRS base. And this features some Rico LED gate lights in a wind guard, excuse me. And for the mast lights, this has two pairs of Safe-Tran 12x24-inch dialate LEDs sitting on a WRS light bracket. And these look pretty old and beat up, so I believe that these lights probably used to be incandescent in the past, or they replaced 8-inch lights like way back in like 05 or something. Actually, more like 2008, 2009. And for the overhead lights, which is the cool part, this has two pairs of Western Cullen Hayes 12x20-inch first generation LEDs with the clear lens, as you can see. And these are all sitting on a WRS light bracket, which replaced some more 8-inch lights in the past, I believe. And for the bell, I believe this has a General Signals Type 2 electronic bell. I have not gotten this in action quite yet, so I'm not sure yet. So there's that for you. And you can see where the two cantilever pieces connect together. Pretty interesting bracket that they decided to use. So yeah, that was the first signal. Quite neat, has pretty much my favorite style of cantilever here. So I guess with that said, wait for these two cars and let's go ahead and cross the road to tour the next signal, which this one is also kind of interesting in itself. So for the second signal, which is not similar to the first, this one has a Siemens cantilever. And here's the emergency information once again. Now, worth mentioning that this side of the crossing went through two different cantilever changes. So back up until 2008, 2009, this signal used to have one of them WRS cantilevers, like regular style, but it was missing some of the brackets that it had up top. And then sometime later, after that, it was replaced by this. Now, back before 2000, back before that cantilever was installed, it had another one of these WRS drop arm style cantilevers here. Quite interesting how it went through this many changes. But yeah, and for the gate mechanism, this has an Invencies rail gate mechanism sitting on a Safe-Tran base. And this features some more Rico LED gate lights in a wind guard. But yeah. And for the mast lights, this has two pairs of Safe-Tran 12x24-inch GE uniform LEDs. And these are all sitting on a Safe-Tran light bracket. And for the overhead lights, it's a little hard to see, but this has two more pairs of Safe-Tran 12x24-inch GE uniform LEDs on another Safe-Tran light bracket. And for a bell on this one, this has a Siemens electronic bell, probably low pitch. I'm not sure if it's a high tone or low tone, most likely a low tone electronic bell, but there it is. So yeah, that right there was the Helmer Road railroad crossing. Here's the relay case sitting at milepost. I can't see that from here. The sun's in my eyes. Oh well. And also another interesting thing, since it has a pretty widened sidewalk, you can see that this has its own like crossbook sign, but it's in a square template. And you can see the RXR markings on the ground, and you can see the little crossbuck that protects the sidewalk side. Quite neat to see here. So I guess with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the track view. Down there, it's heading east towards more crossings, such as 20th Street, and then you have Upton Street, and eventually we'll bring you to the Battle Creek area where it turns back into the CN Flint sub, and also the Battle Creek Amtrak station. But yeah, and down there it's heading west towards a long straightaway, basically. Well, it curves and then it goes straight south across many bridges, eventually towards the Indiana-Michigan border. You could see a couple of automatic signals, which are actually incandescent, and these two show a default green. But yeah, And I guess with all that said, this was the Helmer Road railroad crossing in Springfield, Michigan. Pretty neat stuff. I might have to get some of these new, other cantilever crossings in action in Springfield Township, Michigan. So I guess with all that said, over and out.